Brother Nashi, how are you? Please post my story as anonymous. I am a Zimbabwean man who is currently living here in Namibia. I am about to die. And before you share my confession with your followers, I want you to tell them to remember me whenever they pray. They should remember me in their prayers. They will say, God, please forgive Thomas, even though he sinned against you, but just forgive him for the things that he did. What I did, Brother Nashim, it is quite unthinkable. I sacrificed my own sister's daughter. I sacrificed her because I did not want my business to go down. I had started a trucking business when I was still staying in Botswana. When I was still in Botswana, I got married to a woman who was a Tswana, and she found me cheating. I was cheating with her best friend, and she did not like it. That was when she dumped me. Let me take you back. I left Zim. I used to be in the army. I was a soldier, and because of the low salary that we were earning, then I decided that I wanted to leave Zim for good. I left Zim, and then I went to Botswana in the year 1990, and I left my wife. Maybe this is why God is punishing me, because I dumped my wife in Zim. I don't know if she is still alive or wherever she went to, because I never looked for her again. When I arrived in Botswana, I started to work for this other certain Tswana man who had a very beautiful daughter, whom I will call Lindiwe, not her real name. She was a woman that was very beautiful. We then started dating. And as we were dating, as we were talking, then I found out that she was highly intelligent, even though she did not pursue any studies in her life. I then encouraged her to go back to school, and she listened to me. I assisted her with some money, and I was paying for some of the tuition, and then she ended up teaching at a private school. While she was teaching at that private school, by then I had managed to become a citizen in Botswana, and I used my citizenship to get a driver's license, and then I started to drive trucks. When I was still in Zim, I already knew how to drive trucks. The experience was there. I was just waiting for the perfect opportunity. And as I was working, me and Lindiwe, we were very good with saving money, as well as whenever I would go to DRC, along the way, I used to do some deals which made me to have a lot of money. We then saved a lot of money, and then we bought our first truck, which was a Scania, and I was traveling all over the SADC countries. As I was working and using my own truck, we were making a lot of money. And once you start to have a lot of money, you know, women, they will start to be attracted to you. And it happened that there was one of Lindiwe's best friend. She was having problems in her marriage, and she would always come to me and she would tell me about all the problems that she was facing in her marriage. And because I loved her with the way that she was beautiful, I started to cheat on my wife with her best friend, and this was something that I was never supposed to do. When Lindiwe found out, I thought that maybe she was going to forgive me, but she did not forgive me at all. She was angry, and then she filed for a divorce. This divorce, it did not go my way. I lost everything, and the only thing that I had after the divorce was that I had one car as well as the Scania. As for this Scania, it was a non-runner that was gathering dust at a truck stop in Zambia, and I was owing storage fees as well, and I did not have any money. Because of what had happened to me, that was when I went to Francistown. Just outside of Francistown, there is this other small village. I went there to get help. Already I knew that there was a traditional healer that I had heard about many years ago, but I had not yet spoken with that traditional healer. When I arrived at the traditional healer, he then told me that he was going to assist me to get my money back, to get back into the industry. He then told me that he was going to give me a charm that is called Chase Away Your Poverty. He gave me that charm to chase away my poverty, and he told me that as for this charm that he was going to give to me, I was supposed to put it in my wallet, and I was supposed to have it besides me at all the times, and no woman was supposed to touch that wallet. He then told me that until I would have made a lot of money, I was never supposed to be in the hands of the police. Once I do that, things were going to get messed up. So I was never supposed to get in trouble with the police. Life continued, and he had given me a very painful rule to follow, and this rule that I was supposed to follow was that I was never supposed to sleep with any normal woman. The only women that I was supposed to sleep with, these were women, Brother Nashim, that were mentally challenged, a woman that was dirty, a woman that never bathed, who was mentally challenged, that I would have picked up in the streets. That was the woman that I was supposed to sleep with. If I did that, then this meant that I'll keep on making a lot of money. Within a couple of months, I managed to go to Zambia with my mechanics, and then we fixed the Scania, paid the storage fees at the truck stop, and I started to get a lot of government contracts. I was making a lot of money. As I was making a lot of money, I had that Lindiwe. She was not happy with the way that I had gotten back in business, and I was afraid that maybe she was going to look for a hitman to get me killed. I then moved out of Botswana and I came to Namibia. When I came to Namibia, it was because I had gotten another contract. It was a government contract as well, and I bought another truck here in Namibia. We were carrying salt from Namibia, going with the salt to Zambia as well as South Africa. When I was here in Namibia, then that was when I met a woman whom I'll call Hilda. She was quite a beautiful woman like I had never seen in my entire life. This woman, even though I wanted to sleep with him and she wanted me to sleep with him, but I was unable to do that because of the rituals. I was never supposed to sleep with a woman unless if I had gone back to the traditional healer who was going to tell me what is it that I was supposed to do in order for me to get married. As it happened one day, she then tempted me and she said, let us go to a hotel and we spend a night together at the hotel. I then agreed, and I forgot my wallet at my apartment where I was staying. We spent the night at the hotel. After I had slept with him the next morning, that was when I received a scary phone call from South Africa. I had my trucks that were in South Africa. All of them, they had an accident whilst they were in South Africa. My Scania that was in Durban, it was involved in a terrible accident. It had an accident. It hit a small truck and there were 3 people that died on the spot. Unfortunately, there was nothing that I could do for the driver. He was arrested and they said that he was the one to be blamed for the accident. But no, it was because of me. I had messed up my rituals and that man killed people because of me. From there on, my business started to go down. My contracts, all of these contracts, they were being cancelled for no reason at all. I knew that I had messed up. Because I knew that I had messed up, I then returned back to Francistown. When I went back to that village, I spoke with the traditional healer because I wanted to know what is it that I could do. Of course, I had messed up, but still I believed that when someone has messed up, still there is another option in order for things to return back to where they used to be. So this traditional healer then told me that it was going to be very difficult. I said, what do you mean when you say that it is going to be very difficult? The traditional healer then told me that I had a tokoloshi. I said, which tokoloshi are you talking about? The healer told me that since he had given me that root that he called, you will never know poverty again in your life. This root that he had given to me, it was like a togoloshi. And when I had done these rituals in the first place, he had given me rules. And I had failed to follow those rules, even though the rituals that I had done, they were quite easy, for there was no blood that was required at all, but I did not follow the rules, and I slept with Hilda, a woman that had no history of mental illness, and this was what had made the spirit that was pushing my business to become so angry at me. I then said, yes, I know that I messed up, but what is it that am I supposed to do, even though you know that I messed up, but there must be a solution to this problem. That was when he told me that, yes, there was a solution. There was blood that was needed. When he told me about the blood that was needed, I definitely thought that maybe he wanted the blood of the woman that I had once gotten married to, and I was willing to sacrifice my ex-wife from Botswana because she was the one that had made me to suffer and to be in that situation in the first place. If she had just forgiven me like what a normal woman is supposed to do, I was never going to end up doing the things that I did. But this man, he said to me, you have to do this. If you do not do this, then you are going to remain in poverty. And then he told me that the blood that was needed, it was not the blood of my wife, it was the blood of my sister's daughter, whom I will call Vimbai. As for Vimbai, she was amongst my nieces that I had brought into Botswana. I said that I want to uplift my whole family, so I took my sister's kids, all those that I saw that they were very good in school and they got their education in Botswana so that they can start afresh. And Rimbai was amongst the kids that I had brought into Botswana so that they can receive a good education. She was in university at that time. So I was told that she was the one that had been chosen by the Tokoloshi. If I wanted to make money again like I used to, I was supposed to sacrifice her. At first I refused and I said I can't do something like that because I knew that my sister, she was going to get crushed if it will ever happen that something bad will happen to her daughter. I did not want to cause so much pain in her life, but in order to survive, I was told that I had no choice in the matter. I was supposed to do this. I was then told that this was the only way. I then agreed. I was told that in order for Vimbai to die, I was supposed to bring her to Namibia and use her for the rituals. I then told them that I wanted to train her more about logistics. She then came to Namibia from Botswana. When she came, I made sure that I moved with him in the areas where my trucks were loading. Even though the contracts had been disabled, I did not tell him the truth. I lied to her that I still had contracts with those companies because I was told that in Namibia, every place where my truck had been loading on contract, I was supposed to go with her to show her the places so that those contracts, they can come back to me. And before she had came, a couple of days before that, I had taken that root that I had been given by the traditional healer and I soaked it in water. That was the water that I was giving to her when she came to Namibia. When she returned back to Botswana, she started to get sick. We took her to different hospitals. I was the one that was in the forefront of this whole scenario, and I made sure that I bribed traditional healers in Zim that would give false prophecies to my sister so that she can think that there was someone that was bewitching her daughter because her daughter was someone that was very intelligent in school. When she finally passed away, it was a very painful thing for my sister because my sister, she was in a lot of pain because of the way that her daughter had suddenly died. I pretended as if I was very hurt because I had been taking her through university, but I was just shedding crocodile tears. She had died so that I can have my business running properly again. I then started to make a lot of money and I bought a house in Windhoek and I bought more trucks. Then I started to get sick in 2024, but my Sickness, it started in the year 2023, and in 2024, that was when I was told that I had cancer in the stomach. To this very day, I'm still suffering. I'm already waiting for the day that I am going to be taken to the hospital. Then I will never wake up ever again. So I went to South Africa to receive good medical attention, and I went to Germany, I went to India, but this cancer, I can't get any help. It is always painful. No matter what they do to me, the cancer, it keeps on getting bigger and bigger. And at night, that is when it gets so scary, because I see the ghost of my sister's daughter whom I sacrifice. Usually when I see her, this is what happens. Because of the pain, sometimes I can collapse. So when I collapse, I have to be rushed to the hospital. It starts when I am in the ambulance. Usually, I see Vimbai, she will be standing on top of me and she will be biting me. And each and every place where she will be biting me, it will become so painful, so much that I will start to scream. And I can't tell the people that I will be with in the ambulance that this is what is happening to me. It gets so scary. The moment that I am admitted in any hospital at night, the war starts when they leave me in the ward where they would have admitted me into. I'll start to hear Vimbai. She will be walking, and she will be walking from the reception area, and she comes into the ward where I will be, and she will start to choke me. And whenever she is choking me, she will say to me, "Uncle, I want you to confess. Uncle, I want you to confess." And she will be wearing a graduation gown when she is doing this, screaming, "Uncle, confess. I have gone to heaven, and I am being told that my place is still being prepared, because I have to come back to you so that you confess to your sister that you killed her daughter. Confess to your sister right now about all the evil things that you did." Brother, I can't do that. I am someone who is like a role model in the family. Everyone in my family who has a good job, who is living a good life, it is all because of me, because of the sacrifices that I did when I left Zim, when I went to Botswana. Right now, for me to call my relatives, because this is what she is saying. She says, "I don't want you to confess on the phone. I want you to call your relatives, those ones that will be able to come to Namibia. They have to come to Namibia, and you have to call your sister. My mother is supposed to be there when you are confessing. I want you to tell my mother all the things that you did to me, that you sacrificed me so that you can keep on having a lot of money. And I am scared to confess, brother, so I am just suffering." I want to caution all of you who wants to look for shortcuts in life. Once you have some charms that you would have been given by a traditional healer, do you know that this same traditional healer can come back and tell you that you now have a togoloshi, and this togoloshi, it wants blood, like the situation that I have found myself in right now. It is quite a very difficult situation. I do not know what is going to happen to me, but when you post my story, just tell me so that I can follow through in the comment section. I want your listeners to remember me whenever they pray. Just remember that Thomas did all the things that he did, not because he wanted to, but because of the situation that I was facing at the time. And I also blame Lindy, because as a woman, even though I had cheated on her, she was supposed to forgive me. I just made a mistake, and I believe that she was supposed to forgive me. But at the same time, I was never supposed to dump my Zimbabwean wife simply because I was now staying in Botswana. I regret ever leaving the army. If I had never left the army, I was never going to have a togoloshi. When you post, please tell me and give me a link so that I can come and I can listen to your confessions. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our DM brother. Let us talk with our brother in the comment section. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. He's saying, I can't confess, I would rather die. With the way that people respect me, they think that I am perfect, but they don't know that I'm not perfect. Therefore, I can't confess. So he's going to be facing this ghost forever and ever until he dies. Let us speak with him in the comment section.